All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's November Awareness Roundtable. This is the first of 3 trainings that we're putting together for this year to help you to plan a fantastic Let's Talk About PanCAN in Our Community event. My name is Laura Brigandy. I'm the Associate Director of Advocacy and Campaigns here at PanCAN. I'm joined tonight by Joan DeFilippo and Sharice Robinson, 2 of our senior community relationship managers. They are going to review our campaign goals, show you how to get started, and go over all of the resources to help you have a great event. This should hopefully be a pretty quick training, so we can have you out of here in 30 minutes or less. So I'll go right ahead and turn it over to Sharice to get us started.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to take a bit of your evening. Welcome to our November Awareness Month 2022 kickoff. So let's talk about PanCAN in your community. This year's theme focuses on research. So this year we are asking that all affiliates to host at least one local educational event with a partnership with a community supporter in your area, and also have someone that you're close to, a guest speaker, to lead the event as well. We want to, of course, center the event around research. So we're encouraging affiliates to work with your communications committee. They will have a separate training aside from this, but we wanted to bring you all together to make sure that today's event made the entire affiliate aware of our November awareness campaign. Okay, some expectations and goals for the events this year, of course, is to make sure to connect with your existing partners. Or if you have thoughts and ideas on a new company or organization that you might want to partner with, this could very well be your leg in for all types of opportunities. A strong suggestion is that these partners should already have some type of built-in audience. For example, if you've worked with, say, for instance, a local construction company or whatnot, and they have, a joint lunchtime at 12 p.m., say, you can host that event at their location. Folks will already be there, eager, waiting, and listening, ready to learn about PanCAN and November awareness. Also remember that this event is November awareness, and so we want to make sure we bring that awareness to PanCAN, the organization, pancreatic cancer, the disease. So these events should drive people to our national webinar on World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day on November 17th, 2022. You may ask, okay, Sharice said something about a community partner or supporter or something like that. What do we define as a community supporter? So as you can see, we have some examples here, but a community supporter is an organization, an association, an institution or company, or some other type of formalized group who supports PanCAN and our mission. As you can see here, we have it broken down in about 5 different areas, but you might think, hey, I'm working with someone, or I've worked with someone in the past, or my organization or the job that I am at now might be a great opportunity to partner. So you want to take a minute to think about who outside of these areas might be a great opportunity to work with for something like this. Just throw it in the chat. It might be something that you're doing in your community that other are not doing in their community, or might give some other folks some examples. Also, if you need assistance identifying some partners, your staff partner will have a list of PanCAN's national industry partners and grantees to help you get this started. Some of our industry partners, of course, are folks that we've worked with for Purple Stride, say Ipsen and AbbVie. Some of our healthcare related professionals are like our researchers, our oncology nurses, doctors and whatnot in your area. Of course, institution for academia, whether it be a pre-med or it could be someone studying to be a teacher as well. So those are some of the areas to look for.
Seems like it's a quiet group tonight. I don't see anybody chiming in the chat. So if you have ideas of who you might want to partner with in your community, feel free to throw them in there. I'm sure many of you have these types of relationships with your sponsors or, with healthcare institutions or any of the
sororities, fraternities, all those folks that you
any of the outreach targets that you may be working on. So we'll keep thinking about it. We'll move on from here. But
one thing I did want to note is that think of areas where you might also volunteer or be connected with. For me, I'm a mom, so I partner with PTAs. So a lot of the times I'm able to have, we host a PTA meeting. I'm able to bring this information to PTA meetings and different things of that nature. So it might be something that you might feel maybe far-fetched or might not be the right target audience, but your community is your oyster, and feel free to, throw some things out there that you might feel is not listed here in this community supporter list. And so now you may ask, how can I help my community make this event successful? Of course, if you are so blessed to have a November awareness chair, or you have identified or can identify a volunteer that will be willing to schedule kickoff meetings. So for your entire affiliate, can identify a community sponsor, a community supporter, or a partner, that will be, I would say, the first step to take. And look for those existing relationships in your community. We've listed a few brainstorming questions here that you can bring to that event or that meeting. Where your existing relationships, what areas, do your community partners already have a built-in audience, to where you're not having to, post and reach and drive folks to this event. You have an audience already there waiting and really willing to listen. Does the partner have the capability to host you? They have the space enough for people? Do they have AV equipment? Is it an opportunity to where you don't have to bring any additional equipment? Everything is already set up there for you. So those are some of the things just to get your mind going about when you select or reach out to these community partners. Lastly, we don't have a budget for this event. However, brainstorm with your group. Think of different ways that you can identify grocery stores or whatnot to supply some in-kind events, whether it be food and beverage. Maybe it will be your host site. They might say, hey, we have a budget this year for an educational event. We will host you and we will provide food and beverage. So just think of just innovative ways where you can avoid, having to spend any dollars on this event. And with that being said, if you have any questions about your brainstorming event or anything that I've just read through, please feel free to type it in the chat or talk with your staff partner. At this point, I will pass the mic to Joan for some additional information.
Thank you, Charisse. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to review the campaign toolkit with you. And this year, we're doing something a little bit different than we have in the years past. We are rolling out our toolkit in different phases. We figured this was kind of an easier way to do it, and it made more sense to us for us to do it this way for you. So tonight begins phase one. We will go over the campaign overview, the kickoff meeting agenda, and then the event planning timeline and checklist. And Laura is going to show the event planning timeline and checklist because this is something different. All of you will be doing it on a different date. Probably some of you will have the same date, but what we did is if you look in column 1D, you will see the date in there, and Laura's going to change it. And when the date changes, you'll see in column C that your event date will correspond with that. And then in column B, it will show you exactly how many weeks out and what that due date is for your column C. So if you have in the date, which Laura has in now for 11/12, you'll see that at 9 weeks out, you need to do this task. At 6 weeks out, you need to do this task. That will change again with everybody's different date. But the idea behind this is some of these dates, you'll see that you have things due on the same day. This is just a timeline. Please, you can do these in advance. You can go ahead and do that, or just know when those things are due so that you're ahead of the game and that you're on the right timeline for this. This will be very instrumental for all of you. And again, once you change that date, it changes everything to the timeline for your specific event. Phase 2, we'll have the invitation templates for hosts and guest speakers. We'll have the template for in-kind contribution requests, space, refreshments, etc., promotional flyers, and invitation template for audience. And phase 2 will be uploaded in the volunteer central on September 13th. So phase 1 is there today. Phase 2 will be uploaded in Volunteer Central on September 13th. Phase 3 is our sample event agenda, the presentation slide deck and script, and the PanCAN fact sheet. And phase 3 will be in Volunteer Central on October 17th. Our key deadlines and milestones tonight, obviously, is our first roundtable campaign kickoff, and the phase 1 resources that I discussed are already in Volunteer Central. Early September, we'll have our November Awareness Chair Schedule kickoff meeting and for your affiliates. By September 13th, we will have the training for November Awareness webinar. That's our second one. And that's when phase 2 resources will be in Volunteer Central. On October 17th, that'll be our third roundtable. Hosting and presenting will be discussed, and then your phase 3 resources will be uploaded into Volunteer Central. And the timeline between November 1st and November 16th is when we are asking the affiliates to host these events. We understand that you might have yours on the 17th or the 19th, something like that, which is totally fine. This is just our key timeframe for all of these. And then your next steps are pretty simple. Review the resources on Volunteer Central. Talk to your staff partner about scheduling your kickoff meeting. And then start thinking about your community supporters you can partner with. Sort of going back to what Charisse was saying, start thinking outside the box. Maybe there was a sponsor that couldn't do something for Purple Stride. You should reach out to them and say, this is a non-fundraising event. We're not asking you to come in with a $15,000 sponsorship, but we do need your help for an in-kind donation. Maybe you can donate your space. Maybe you can donate some snacks for people, something of that nature. Definitely think back to anybody you have used in the past, and then think outside the box for somebody you can use for this specifically, because this will also build the relationships before we know it, we're going to be in Purple Stride. So this is kind of nice, kind of middle of the year for Purple Stride to start kicking off to it, because we all know it's going to come before we even blink. The holidays will be here, and then we'll be gearing up for our big event in April. And I will turn it back to Laura.
Thanks so much, Joan and Charisse. A lot of great information and helpful advice to get everyone started. And I think Joan made a great point that, time flies and things come up on the calendar a lot quicker than you think they will. So that is why one of the things that I really want to emphasize is how much of this comes down to planning. We are talking to you earlier than usual and rolling out the resources over the next 6 weeks, because we want you to be able to plan ahead and not feel like you're sprinting towards the finish line when November hits. We want you to feel like you are prepared and you've had time to really put everything together. And then, on the subject of planning ahead, don't forget to mark your calendars if you haven't already for our second training. As Joan mentioned, we're hosting a webinar on September 13th, same time, same place. We hope we'll see you there. If you need to register for that, I will be putting the link in the chat. And of course, if you are watching the recording and can't access the chat, you can also find the registration link in the toolkit on Volunteer Central. So I just dropped the link in there for anybody who has not already registered for our training on the 13th. And then with that, I will open it up to see if there are any questions. You guys were a little shy earlier, but looks like we've already got a question from Sue. Are these all supposed to be in-person meetings? So Sue, we would love to do everything in person. I know that you guys are eager to get back in person, and I'm sure everyone would love to see each other again. If you are able to, we definitely recommend doing it as an in-person event. But obviously there are certain, if you're working with a hospital system, they may say, nope, we don't want outside guests, but we'll do a virtual event. That's okay too. We'll happily take any event that you are able to put together, but we are definitely making this an opportunity for in-person events if possible.
Also, you can also create a hybrid event. So if you have the abilities to do something in person, and also whether it be, Facebook Live or YouTube or something of that nature, you can do a hybrid event. So you can, folks that don't want to come out in person can also participate that way.
Yeah, and I think definitely, one of the things to think about if you do want to go that route is, again, thinking about the capacity of the space where you're hosting it. Not only are you going to need to have the AV equipment to do a PowerPoint presentation, but you would also need to have, Wi-Fi and a camera so that folks who are calling in remotely would be able to see what's happening in the room. So lots of things to think about, but that is what your kickoff meeting is for, to really look at your list of potential community supporters who, what's the best opportunity, who's the relationship that you most want to steward, who has the built-in audience, who has the capacity, it's all of those things. And your staff partners will certainly help you with narrowing down how to identify the right partners for you. Any other questions? I scrolled back in the chat a little bit and didn't see questions, just some suggestions. So while Megan is asking, is anybody else excited about this? I am. I mean, I know, like I said, everybody wants to see each other back in person. So I would love to attend an event. I'm here in the DC area. I don't know if we have any volunteers from DC who are on tonight, but would love to attend an event around here. And I'm sure there are folks all over the country who definitely want to get out there and raise awareness. That is what we do every November, but this is the first time in a few years that we've been able to really get out in our communities.
I also think this is a great time to highlight where our money goes. Getting a researcher out to, to come out to an event in your community, especially if you're able to get a researcher at a hospital or cancer center that you're already working with. We don't really hear from them throughout the year. So to get a researcher to come out and speak about, the grants that they received from PanCAN and what they're doing with it, how it's impacting the lives now or maybe in the future would be very exciting, and some great information can come from that.
Yeah, and then Irv pointed out in the chat that it will also support the outreach function by doing an educational event and working with partners in the community, which is essentially what the outreach chair does all year round. So this is definitely going to be an opportunity for the whole affiliate to come together. You're going to have your sponsorship chair, talking to Purple Stride sponsors, your outreach chair, working those connections. So it really is a collaborative effort. It's not all on the November Awareness Chair. It's going to be the entire affiliate working together to make this a successful event. So another question, could this possibly be combined with Purple Light in the future? So for this year, at least, we are recommending that they be two separate events. They are a pretty different audience and message. I think, Purple Light is a somber event. It's memorial, it's honoring survivors, and it's a typically very emotional event, and may not be the best fit for, an educational program with an outside audience that maybe doesn't have personal connections, if they're HCPs or, it's the employees of a company, it may not be a good fit to put them both together. So we definitely, if you can, recommend separating them. If you feel like 2 events is going to be too much for your affiliate to handle, definitely talk to your staff partner and, see what your options are. Maybe one of your events is scaled back a little bit more than, if you were only doing 1 event. And then will an overview of the presentation we are offering for the event be available on September 13th? So Diane, our September 13th training is going to be focused on more of the logistical side of planning, getting your invitations out, putting together your plan for sending out invitations. Is your host going to be doing that communication, or you? Who's going to be your guest speakers, that type of thing. And then we will have the content for the presentation available for the October meeting for our roundtable on October 17th. That will be when we'll get you the script and the slide deck. So you should have at least a couple weeks with that content to prepare before your event. So that's kind of the timeline of how we're rolling things out. Any other questions from folks? Good questions so far. Well, if you do have questions afterwards, you know where to find us. You can always contact your staff partner with questions, and they'll be happy to, if they don't know the answer, they can pass it on to one of us, and we will be happy to give you as much information as we have at this time. And of course, more information coming on a rolling basis. So make sure that you bookmark that toolkit on Volunteer Central and check back for the phase 2 and the phase 3 resources in the coming weeks. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope that you are all excited and ready to start planning your events, and have a great night, and we will see you back here again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone.